Actually, I know you know about Yasmin and Nusrin. Nusrin thinking of being trying to be an naturalist in Afghanistan, coming back right back to I could stay there. And Yasmin, the one who took care of everybody, family in Pakistan. No, only the bachelors. During the masters, the first one, when I was 20, you were so full of shit. You ass. Cut to the Bin Laden. This is how I fucked them myself if I could. We know something about them. 9/11. Why not? Because it was precise of the sun. Basler, remember that the useless spies I had as boyfriends who wrote 10,000 love letters to me, so poor Basler, who named his niece. And, you know, Jamila, his daughter, that's his sister. And even the Germany, that's it, NASA, German aerospace. Sorry for smashing my head on the coastlines and coming back as deadly 221 familiar face with 221 buildings worldwide to global plumbers. Disney and just hot news on the news. Have you ever heard of obituaries as love letters? Oh, let's go Glenville. In the first masters, I say the. I don't say my. Better. Look at my 2 masters, my 2 bachelors with honors. By the age of 20, my I'd be at 15 for free education. My. Disney's telling you something here. With the voice of everybody, and that's all news on the news around the capital cities 221. Yeah, angels. Cool celebra. Anyway, fucking animals. Kazoo. But you have to roll piggies on the coastlines. You have angels. Easy to make a particular corn cob. Basler. You see, during the first masters, I lived with Gabor and the others. Yulia Pasheva, Brother Stinka. Don't expect that from anyone. They're assholes. To be happy in this life, erase any hope of people being decent. Shit, nothing for you. Yeah, I know that already. Just reminding you during the first time. Go back, you lecturing piece of shit. Well, I'm a lecturer here. I don't care for shit. You can't keep telling me this. They're all assholes. Thank you, darling. Thank you, Rabbi. You stinker. In the girl, another girl, after you smashed her head on the bus lines. As for the parents, that's another. That's not even a storyline. It's not a story. Hold on, that's not an elevator. That's from beyond. The pioneer camps beyond the capital city. Shit. I was once in King's Campus, Woolwich. Now it's all empty. Now I'm a pauper after you smashed my head and man would cause celeb. Maybe we should stay and roll for a dance. Let's go, Glenville. I chase avoid. Ricky and Van Damme, the Hague. But let's not speak about it. The reason they say to me not to speak about it is because we have not normal reactions in the US. And because if you smash the head in of that girl on the coastlines, we should stay in Rome for retirement. It's called Glenville, and plus the hanging vegetable are good personality. You're right. Defend your parents at all costs in their directorate D1 jobs across 30 USA in 160, 180 countries work, 140 countries work for her. Let me put it this way, US. You're not the best in space science. You're not. I can tell you that from Russia, China, Saudi, the UN, militaries, the Germans. Anyway, others. Ammazza il culo da vari Germany. Ma siete la fregatura più grande? The Share 221 andare a parola merda, so. Vedi se magana. In other words, do me a favor. When you bring back the tripod child, that's just wrong. That's wrong, huh? I'm really sorry I went to high school with the president's kids for free. I prefer St. George's for free. Yeah. You know when you take a breath of fresh air and you're like, where's the perfume? I'm Britt Hobbit. Let me show you this breath. Please. Go back again. Then they speak about the nervous laugh. The pain I felt before. The nervous laugh. That's not what we're talking about. A bachelor lived with me. And he lived with the Pakistanis. Because when I moved to Chatham, or Canterbury, or wherever, because there's 7 campuses. Like, you know, that Grabsky cycle he showed me on this president. Very good. You know Greenwich University, Colin Hills, and all the other 7 campuses. All of them are just parts of them. Very good. Ukrainian and Fresno. Federal prison in LA, Dolores Shelter. That's it for the Gobia. Clean up. And premise. Around the border, but that shit followed me all the way to London. Segovia. So he died 25 times in London. He started suiciding when he was 5 years old. He killed 2 Polish people, spent 20 years in federal Polish prison, the mother of Vancouver. That guy hangs up 4 hells. German police dragging him out of loops because saying, yeah, now, if I go on the border with Germans, they're going to beat the shit out of that cheap shit. I don't give a shit, Disney. And they did. Didn't I tell you? America? And that was just the bombies. And they're fucking racist over there. So even fucking try, I'm not staying there long. Think of it as storage. Down to Western European storage. I'm going down to Rome. If I have to return right now, after, more than 10 years out of Fresno, and all those trekking and Mediterranean with all those t-shirts, back and forth, and those guys sending that many times from before, then yes, I can get a nice place in Rome, and that's it. All London. I'm not worried about that. In other words, you're being sued. You're being sued for The Hague for that girl, because they're empty buildings because of her. And bringing back Disneyland to prove that around the world, Global is, of course, celebrity to one girl, the familiar face, the ballerina. In other words, the Rompiga Basura, the non-existent beautiful buildings. Now, considering that, you called me Bin Laden. Let's go back. During the first masters, there was Nasreen and Yasmin living with Tayyip Mahmood and the others in a house in Chatham. And when I went to Chatham, I had been with the other guys, but I had to go to Chatham for some time, and they were still there. But I needed another place, and Basler was there. And that was before we started. Actually, he had already worked for NASA, but he was still in Germany, working for German Aerospace at that time. So he said, come on back. And he said, Jamila, yes, we can live together. So he's like living with them, and he tried to do C++. So these Pakistanis are doing like a master's, and his thesis on the master's was making a C++ model of a perfect genetic human being, Ubermensch. So first of all, that's not how you make Ubermensch with C++. No, it's just one of those games. Like, I don't understand nothing about C++. Who's going to do that for him, boss? I say, Yasmin, I was speaking about crumbs. Nazrin. Motherfucker. In other words, it's a certain level. You understand? Now, that's after you smash the head and not back down. And there's Eleanor Thompson, okay, the chief geneticist in Woolwich. She says, fuck yeah, tell Bastard to fuck off, he's German. I was like, yeah, but what's he going to get from baby? Nothing other than sex. He named his daughter, Jamila, come on, guys, these are obituaries. You know, for a dad baby, the love letters. Come on, can't you see the joke in this shit? Oh, fuck it. Ulo devori do. Try to make it look rosy with the baby. But I'm a doctor, I'm a nurse. I went to school, I can't give a shit. Where you at? You fucking asshole. They have to bring back Disneyland just to prove a point for herself. Around the world, connected those locales with beautiful buildings that are empty. It's besides. You're fucking retards. That's evidence and knowledge. Fuck you, assholes. No, it's the literature division. Look, it's getting worse. Aditya Novian. No, cara. There must be a brain. Yeah, the brain is, but it's negative. Your race smashed his head. What do you have? Pretense for that shit? Kill those assholes on the coastlines. That's already happened. Chill out, guys. We already know about the mermaid. What you expect? Pretenses for smashing that girl's head in on the ghost lines phenomenon. Checked. The big one you got. But you didn't want to take responsibility for smashing her head in on the ghost lines, so we had to bring her back as Disney. Germany, she's a hero. Okay, so even Tierhaufen. I said, well, that's pushing it because of the Nazi systems. I gotta get out of here because if Tierhaufen is thinking, usually it's 696969. Sometimes if there's a bad guy, it's 666. Oh, wow. I'm not going to understand this shit. Sorry, I'm bushing. You're pushing it now. No, listen, we're ready. Listen, don't make a comedy out of this show. No. And therefore, your problem, okay, on the ghost lines, your problem of losses, and I'm out of it. You see, I can connect with those globals. I can go to London with the Blumhouse, I can go to Italy with the Blumhouse, I can go to Germany with some Blumhouse, I can go to the coastlines with Blumhouse. That's it. Let's connect with those globals. I can go to 80 countries, connect in Asia and other countries. That's it. The girl is out, baby, out. If you don't understand that concept of the rope people are smashing head, and you say, oh, there's a hole in the wall, Max que milagro. That girl did something, and she wouldn't be brought back for nothing. So, soon the Brits and the Italians are involved, and I'm Russian, Saudi, blood. You have it. Yeah, mix, Polish, Arab, Saudi, Arabia, Turk, that, Russian, a little Polish man. That's, you know. Now, considering that the uncle of Papa did sciences in Egypt, and the uncle, the cousin of Papa, which is, what used to do the sciences in Cairo, and the brother of the mother is my uncle. Two uncles. Did sciences in Warsaw University. They were the directors of the university. Now, directors, ministers of sciences. Now, they're telling me, sorry, but your mir is Russian. Your mother is born in Pieszyce, Papa, Norsk, Turk. In effect, it was pioneer camps in Saudi Arabia at the age of 3. So they were pioneer champions. But the thing is, this is the big one. You see, that was weird. There was a connection, and that was a Turk connection. The grandmama, meaning my grandmama, the mother of Papa, is Turk, completely Turk, 100% Turk. She also has some Russian in her, somehow. They were there, Norilsk. Okay? That was a yes. So let's say that there's Turks in Kazakhstan, you can say there's Turks in Norilsk. There are. And at that time, there were pioneer camps. Pioneer, pioneer. Pioneer sports, pioneer everything. Dark indigo. Both of them are directors of Oslo, USA. Are then they based in Basta. Retired in prison with a hanging benches, large winters and Iraq. That many flyings of me, that many runnings of me, and then me dad. And there's quotes. Now, if you can't even see the storyline because you call us motherfuckers, and I'm dead, and you're wondering where the shit went to the shit and to the beds on the coastlines, it's your problem. There's some kind of Manhattan Project, which wasn't a Manhattan Project because the radio was invented 250 years ago. That's me. And the girl wasn't famous for the Manhattan Project. She wasn't famous for 9/11. She was famous for space sciences. Space sciences and sciences German. She can do some biochem. In the lowlands, according to Alex Evans, who was the daughter of the club of Roman Rome, saying that Mr. Crow, Gabor, lowlands, and that's not who you were. You were highlands, now you are lowlands, and the lowlands is the promise. The blues and pink. Now, if she had her head bashed in on the coastlines, those guys are going to continue without her. So I am the tripod replacement child, or the train people in the house. Do you understand that basic? Because that's all news on the news connected to the bus. So while you're sitting on your fat ass and telling me how genius you are, I'm sitting there looking at you like retards, like everybody else on the planet. US. Because you have pretenses for the beautiful buildings that are empty, that are not Elon Musk's. They're ours. Mine. At La Sapienza, they're mine. In Woolwich, they're mine. Martin, lowlands. Snowden was doing sciences. You didn't fall down for anybody but for me. When they say to you, you were the best, and we brought back the best after her head was bashed in, you're still denying it. This is who you are. So, that's called celeb. So you can send your psychos and stuff. This is one of the worst unusual situations in the intel in the US. That's what the water thing. Please. Papa and Mama said, you're the best prostitute. Uncle Lawrence was not. Oh, I know that. But you're just stupid. And you're having fun with Disneyland by Sending cycles, sending stalkers, sending bitches, calling her names, and much more. Therefore, that we added the Roman tribunal to that as an extra for your extras, meaning your beauties. For the Disney version of that girl. Now, there is more. There's Blues, the New Kids on the Block, but that's not your interest because as Barilla's husband, the ex-mayor of Rome, yeah, exactly. And everyone says that. Better to lose with the most intelligent forever than to win with the stupid husband. It's as simple and as obvious as I don't know how to say it in a nicer way to the US, but it's very unusual that someone like that would have her head bashed in on the bushlands and come back like this with peace babe to truth. This hell was the big one. Yes, it was. And we're not giving in on that. Because they'll call you fascist. They'll call you the Fourth Reich. The Germans will be sitting there and saying, look all us bad. Look at the US. Britain, look at the US. Italy, look at the US. You have the Russians and Arabs, where I come from originally, looking at the other side. That's all news on the news. You go change that shit for me. You go change that concept that they had this obsession with that girl. While you're sitting down, your fat ass, speaking to me how genial you are and your tits and ass and your fucking limos. I come back at Disneyland and I'm supposed to kiss your ass. Kiss your own fucking asshole. Goodbye. On the Westlands. Wherever's and others. Because that shit is voiding by itself. And I'm not even part of it anymore. And I can't control it anymore. I can't. I cannot control an obsessive concept of intel that lost, that you don't like, with a smashed in head around the world. I cannot control 221 with platinum head in 80 countries. That's my fucking number. Would you like to join them with the platinum heads? Because you are geniuses. And 25 states? Not everywhere. There's some places they have the platinum heads, the CIA. Not in Fresno. Now if there's an extension of paper, and some of them moved in, sure, go ahead. Why not? I'll take the assistance. You assholes. So in other words, hobbits, Amber. In other words, this is what they're showing. So why should we stay in the US? Keep your bitches. Keep your the best of the best here. We keep our void that you smashed on the ghost like that word void according to Dirk Jan Van Dam, The Hague, and the Bureau de Veritas. That's all there's on the news around the world. Connect the dots globals, and you do the rest. If I say something, it offends you. You're not a country. You are not a country. You're not patriots. You're not whatsoever patriots. You're just assholes and bitches, and you know that. On the good side, you can say horse. For the 221. This is a tragedy that till today, at the age of 50, I'm fighting out there on the streets, Americans who hate. And they're doing it on purpose. Many from Fresno, whether they are federal prisoners LA from Fresno, because there's no federal prison in Fresno. Tom and Jerry Dyer tells. Is there? Keep lying, Fresno. That many flying, that many runnings, and that many crawlies of me. Oh. Keep lying. For the parents, you've lost it. You've lost every marble that you didn't go there in the middle of the desert and fucking space bomb that place. Because some people would have simply bombed your town. You know, there's some countries where they would have set fire to the trees, they would have keep them out, keep them in. And you see how stupid this is. On top of that, you have the psychos following the girl. Roman tribunal. If I die again in Disney mode, I guarantee you they'll go for a second Hague with Dirk Jan Van Dam, because they'll say, there's no point in bringing back Disneyland if you kill her here. We'll have a second Hague. Which means your country is going to be keeping to pay and pay and pay with the Hague, the Bureau de Veritas, the Roman tribunal for your cycles as extras, and on and on and on. When she was already famous for her shit, and then she's known for her head bashed in on the slides. This is called celeb. This is called celeb globals, connected those globals. That's not the parents either. But many flies, many runs, and many crawlies than me. You've lost it. Lost it. And you're so callous, you're going to say to me, nobody remembers that girl on her flyings and runnings. Nobody remembers that girl in 80 countries, connected dots globals. They remember everything about it. That's why they brought back Disneyland. So you can have your fuck-ups. Fuck it up even more. That's who you are, you ass. And you're going to fucking take responsibility for your fucking retards. You ass. Literally. And I, being Disney, I'm less retarded than you. And I can see this shit. So shut the fuck up around the world. And that's just connected dots global. That's not even fucking mentioning the hanging benches of Laura Quintus and Andy Direct that many motherfucking times if I didn't about them up. against Fresno's intelligence. Shut up on their retirements. Cheap ass. You gonna go and say to me that you have PhD? Who gives a shit? I can't believe this place. I can't believe this country. I can't believe it. In other countries, I'm the most celebrity. In the US, I'm like, fuck bitch! I saw people crying. Why do you have the love letters? Try to hold it up. Fuck bitches against your ass. Okay, you're the psychos, but why did you put me with them? Why did you put them at the Lord shelter if they're federal prisoners? In San Francisco, if they're from Fresno. Oh, but there must be a connection. Madonna mia, so now we even have the Roman tribunal to sue your fucking government billions just for that. I don't know how stupid you are, US. If you think that Disneyland came back for nothing, Disneyland came back to show who you are. And the Ghost Celeb is exactly because of that. Exactly because of the void caused by the Rompigaves and the hole in the wall. Exactly because you smashed her head in and those buildings are empty. Exactly because those guys fell with her like a mermaid. Titanic, all what you want, all was on the news, blue bars with plum hairs. Because, as the Barilla guy said, the mayor with his wife, Barilla, no, was supposed to issue the new Lauster. And probably corrupt for other reasons. Huh? You know what I'm saying? With the white Barilla as a caregiver to them for 2 months when I was in Rome. Yeah, let's say, he said, better to lose the most intelligent for F7. Rather than win with the stupid assholes. Looking at this, I still have the cliche from my. I cannot stress the amount of time they was flying. I stress the amount of time they were running with me at that time, this time, at stupid times, and this outcome that came out of the Ghost Lines, this Phoenix. You do not understand anything about this world. You play games with birds. Yeah, hate, yeah, bitch ass. Maybe I can spike a drink. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can. It's not a question of being not normal. It's a question of you wanting that to happen to that girl, to me. You wanted to smash her head in. You didn't want to look at the void without Jamila. Then you said that was a big one. Yes, and you're paying for Ravas and Nevers, Praha Shamsa. For Ravas and Nevers, global. That's what we call the autistic champion of intelligence for whites and globals by now. So much for this. Box there, such bitches. That's why you hate the baby. Because you were not her when she was alive, and you're not her when she's dead. Disney version. Indios. This is called Celebrity to one around the world. And they're not letting go of that girl with the plum hairs. That's why I came back. To prove that to you. In fact, I'm not proving it. It's already been proved. Together with the hanging benches of Lara Quintus and Nally Direct. The many flies, the many runnings, and that many crawlies of me. Do you understand that? What this ass wipe 221 is, or not, Delph? The plum and time. Because if you say to me that you're better on the Ghost Lines, then I'm telling you why those guys had plum hairs with her, and why there was a mermaid, even in the CIA. And this holy grail. I'm perfect in the CIA. Of course you're not. Not perfect in any intel agency. The problem is, you have so many fucked up problems in the US, and you allowed that to happen. Now everybody's paying for that shit on the Ghost Lines. Everyone! Because of the fucked up, ugly federal prisoners from LA who were born in Fresno. Highlighting how retarded Fresno is and the US. Wow, the guys with the Nobel Prize are going to be sitting there. Who's 9/11? It's not 9/11, bitch. You reopened the banks. Your butt ugly Mossad banks and your racism to a dead baby? Who was famous and known, even for the Rompicabeza? I don't know what the fuck you are in this country. But if you think that that behavior is not going to cost you with the Roman tribunal, other than the Hague and the Bureau de Veritas, let's add the extras, the Roman tribunal. Your government is paying so much for one person, so your fucking whores can feel special. I was the special one, and I'm keeping my mouth shut. I'm dead, and I'm keeping my mouth shut and not having pretenses because you smashed that girl's head in on the Ghost Lines, and I'm some tripod replacement child, Disneyland. And you're speaking to me about cool celeb around the world, and you're sitting there in Frisco, Fresno, and you're sending me that shit. Oh, please, on my literal crawlies. It's a Disneyland. No, but I did this and I did that. Good for you. You're even fucking jealous of the 10,000 letters, which I love letters that I didn't even fucking read. You know, when men get depressed, that such a beautiful girl had her head bashed in on the coastlines and they start writing love letters in Italy, at La Sapienza and other places, other universities, other Intel, you know, in the UI, in Woolwich, in the schools, in Russia, in Saudi Arabia, in Arabia. Those men who knew me when I was alive, when that girl was alive, and they see me and they say, she looks a little like herself. She only has the eyebrows were identical. That's it. I say, little baby, the nails. And you come here, and on your little crawlies, crawlies and little crawlies out of Fresno, because they were nuts for the parents, worse than a revolution. They're still obsessed about the baby. That's why there's those love letters, which I never read. You see, that's a decency. I didn't have much sex with Basla when I was younger, or George. In fact, with George, almost nothing. He wasn't my husband. It was when you did the little crawlies, let's make a prostitute out of it. They started looking at the US after what they did to the original girl with the void and why she was connecting the Dos Globals with those guys, as retarded people. And they looked at the Disney version of this, you know, this crab becoming candle in the wind, eventually, you know, Diana to Camilla, and looking at you like, why she come back? What is 221? What is that? What is that? Forget the social security, the familiar face. Why she goes celeb when she goes to 80 countries before retirement's connected those group bars? Why are people looking at her and say, what the fuck? Staying wrong for retirement. You're already gone. You're just a replacement child. And there's something behind that number because that was some fucked up phenomenal shit. Okay, good. Even if they smashed the head in of that girl, there's still a fucking hole in the wall. Miraculous. In other words, the eggs and the freaks and the genetic freak schools in the UI say to me, you shouldn't be here, man. We don't have empty, beautiful buildings. We're just robust. And you was a girl. Mm-hmm. And Matt, I guess, there's even ranking about that was phenomenal. In other words, you know, the lines and the running. Of course, she was defending her parents. And she's still defending the parents now. And all her capacities as Disneyland. Spoiled brats in the house. You are ugly, US. Now you know why. Why in those capital cities they made a big brouhaha about me. And why they made it worse than a brouhaha for the parents. With that many flyings and runnings and crawlies of me. You are not good people. You understand? Because you will lose intelligence in the US. This is a prime example. 221 is a prime example of how the US lost intel within the CIA with the Platinum House. Those beautiful buildings are ours. I should say mine. I was the phenomenal. But they will say, we worked with them. Yes. And they were the ones who were capable to shut down those buildings. And they will. When Martin Snowden fell down, who was the head of sciences in Woolwich or La Sapienza, and those buildings are La Sapienza since I was 5 years old are empty. The reason they did it, because they said there was new math. There's new mathematics in that girl. New. That was a share, the colossal share that went to the shits on the coastlines. That girl came back like this, and she has blues. Okay, they're not going to reopen the buildings. Woolwich did the same. Space sciences, the physics, the stuff, and some biochem. Like Alex Evans, the Club of Rome, no? Le Master Gross Capital. I can tell you a little bit about what I did, but I wasn't doing it for myself. Connected Dots Globals, those guys know much better than me with the Blind Has and the Nobel Prizes and the flies and the runs. They already know this shit. I'm not giving you anything but the tip of the iceberg of Greta Thunberg of what Jamila used to do with Connected Dots Globals, because they're doing it anyway without me, you cheap whores. They're killing stupid animals like you with the Platinum Has, the Nobel Prizes, and emptying their own buildings because you're killing the Nobel Prizes so that you can have your cheap whores with their big tits and big assholes replace us. US! When you speak about cause célèbre, that's me, 221. Familiar face. You're stupid. And you have pretenses. And then you bring your fucked up shit from Fresno to the Disneyland version. Stick in the Roman tribunal after The Hague and the Bureau de Veritas there can Van Damme. Immediately. Disneyland. For Disneyland. Now. And sue them. Fuck up. Back to fucking federal prison in LA from Fresno. All of them. including their families and their drug addicts. All, including that Ukrainian shit from Fresno. Yeah, abroad. Look what they did to him there. Well, the German local police beat the shit out of him. The Brits were shooting out. His family is dead. Practically everyone's dead. So that you can have your cheap ass fun. Why? Because you're denying what Jamila did. She wasn't Bin Laden, was she? C++, huh? Is that how you make Ubermensch, person? Ah, yes, you see, when German Aerospace sits there and says, motherfucker, I'm just one of these guys sitting here, but there's a fucked up shit that girl did when she was flying some runnings. I don't get that. But she's Disneyland. She had her head bashed in. They bring her back like this. Why 2-1 did they bring her back when I'm 15 in college? Why? For free. Why? What is wrong with your brains in the US? No PhD is going to reopen that new shit. That's old news on the news. Fuck, I even get the blessings from the Opus Dei sitting there all the plumbing time. You are retarded haters. Sent another fucking shit on me with the cycles. You don't see what hate is. This is just hate for fun of a little mouse perspective after you smashed your head in on those lines. Do you have any modicum of decency? No one said to you to look at the original Jamila. You can only look at my eyebrows. That's the only thing I have in common with my old self. You cheap whores. I have, in the intelligence communities, never, ever, ever met such hate. You talk about Book's theory girl and head bashed and that's acceptable because she's Disneyland Banner. So we got used to the rosy shit. Nobody got used to that shit in 80 countries. Nobody connected those through balls. That's why they brought me back as Disneyland, to show to you that you're a heap of shit. Rosie. And you still have issues with that because you know the beautiful shit's empty and not banks that you reopened. Insanely jealous. Insanely jealous. And that's not even mentioning the hanging benches with Laura Quintus and Nadia Rick that many motherfucking times. You're over as a nation for the intercommunities. Over. Because when you leave behind at La Sapienza on the first, second, and fifth floor, empty buildings or something, Tiziano, look at that shit. Should have had a man in black, Johnny. You could still good at science. I looked at him, it's like, you crazy? I don't know, you have to look at him and I don't know shit about science. I'm good at sciences, I'm not saying, but I'm not the original guy. And he's like, oh. If the original had her head bashed in on the ghost lines, what you gonna have? Some replacement. But you nails. That's not gonna reopen shit. Not with a head bashed in on the ghost lines. And that's not how you make Ubermensch either. Therefore, the guy said she's a phenomenal, we're falling with her. That was the obsession. Okay, that was the Palino. That was the fixation with that girl. You can't excuse yourself for smashing that girl's head in on the ghost lines and coming out like this. You can't, piece of paper 221, and say to me there's something behind it. Of course there's something behind it. She was a fucking modern genius. And you just start comparing, you fucking chibo, you're dead on the Kush lines, I'll fuck kill you, Disneyland, America. We had to add a federal Roman tribunal for your fucking bitches and assholes. Because the hoes were on the ghost lines. This is bad. You want a second horse? Okay, then we'll go for a second. Hey, might say you as how much you're losing. You know, I speak about the historic Delph that died. And then there's a big one. You know, who gives a shit. Oh, they're fascist, they're racist. It's the Fourth Reich. It's this, it's that. How could you could have killed that girl? There's the gods of Harry Potter just for the baby, 2-1, and you're still denying it. You're sick, US. Sick. It's a sickness inside that you have. And I can see it in your people. You see, this is how I know that you're sick people. Because when I'm in London, everyone's going crazy for that girl. They were jealous, but nobody hated that girl to that point. The same in Italy. You know, they were insanely jealous of Jamila, but nobody hated her so much. The Russians the same. The Saudis the same. There was always that jealousy, even in the UN, when the girl was flying and runnings. But nobody would have smashed her head to bits on the ghost lines 2-1. And they come back like Disneyland. Say, we're America, we don't give a shit. That was a big one. Colloquially speaking, I can't change that. In 80 countries and 25 states. As a sign, 2-1 in the familiar phase is in itself a cause célèbre. You're insane, US. And you bring me back and you say Scotland film. Okay, then let's stay and roll. It's easier for Baba and Mama. They've been trying. They are from pioneer camps beyond the capital city. That's all. They are directors of Oslo TCY USA, D1s. They worked in 160, 180 countries, 140 countries with the helicopters dropping humanitarian aid. They had those jobs. They are directors. I was good in science. Was in a previous life. What the fuck you bring me back for? I swipe 2 to 1. And you say to me there's some negatives out there. Phenomena. This shows, and how many times you're going to say to me the US didn't notice all the flyings, all the runnings, and all the crawlies? I'm going to make you jealous even more. Why? Not to get me to Rome, but to show you how we're going to sue you and do that and if you do kill me, we're going to have a second fucking hate for your fun. You will have no clue how much you're going to be paying in this country. They went as far as bringing a Disneyland version of that girl because those guys fell with her because they were obsessed about something on the ghost lines. And that's famous. That's beyond famous from before. A priori. Together with the hanging benches of Lara Quintus and Lally Rec, that many flyings, runnings, and that many crawlers of me. So don't say on their retirements, don't say to me who you are, US. Because if the cats and dogs and the birds are going around the circles, the zoo for the little baby Disneyland, that many times on my crawlies and literal crawlies, and I have to keep my mouth shut because you want to feel special about yourselves, you go ahead. But if Disney has to come back from the ghost lines and tell you the basics and you're still fucking offended by smashing her head in and being pissed off that Disneyland comes back just to show to you because you're jealous even of a dead baby, literally an intel, who was grafted the nails after you smashed her original intelligence on the ghost lines. And then you say to me, oh, she's afraid. Not afraid of you. I'm not. There's the Hague, there's the Bureau de Veritas, there's the Roman Tribunal. You kill me again, there's going to be the second Hague. For your fun. It won't change the beautiful buildings that are empty around the world. You reopen the banks that are ugly. And I'm not going to make it famous. I'm not going to be, because I was famous before. Then I was known for having my head bashed in. I'm not going to make it famous. I'm not going to make famous the Scotland film. I'm not going to make famous Roman for Rome. I'm not going to make famous the Opus Dei, blessing her and everyone else. I'm not going to make famous shit. I'm not going to make famous the Ghost Lines and the Mermaid. I'm not going to make famous anything. This is already known around the world, you cheap asses. Losers. You are what a loser is. You're not a life person. You are the losers on the Ghost Lines. It is better to win. It is better to lose with the most intelligent on the planet crashing with you rather than win with the fucking asshole stupids. It's a cliche from high school and I don't like cliches in high school in between 13, 14 and 15 for free. Well, why should you go to high school? Why should you didn't go to St. George's High School like she did before for free? Why should you go to St. Stephen's? Where does the president's kids? Even better. Shit, there are people when they're kids, little kids blaming me for cancer, for holes in the head, I'm like looking at them, it's like, I know that girl did space breaks and science breaks and tech breaks. I know that. I know she was phenomenal on that shit. I realized that she was flying and running. She wasn't sitting on a fat ass reading books. I mean, this was the proverbial Men in Black child in St. George's. She had her head bashed in. She had an obsession for the barons on the flyings and the runnings for the barons. Her obsession was also her own life. I think I'm going to die on the Ghost Lines, guys, everywhere in Western Europe. And she did. And so I come back like this, and they wonder why. And they have the pretenses for that shit on the Ghost Lines with the Mermaid. I don't see the intelligence in this. I don't see the a priori thinking. I see snap judgment, bitches, whores, assholes, and careerists sitting there and go, fuck you, bitch. Okay. I already had my head bashed in and you already have the fucking void. We're staying in Rome for retirement. Is there any loss by now? Any sacrifice to stay out of this fucked up country? No. That's why there's a Scotland film. Do you have a brain or are you just assholes and whores? Keep your fucking void of Jamila. You smashed her head in on the coastlines. I'm supposed to apologize that you did that to her? And then still beg you in Disneyland to keep me alive. With the Hague, the Bureau de Veritas and the Roman Tribunal for extras. Because you're mentally retarded people in the US. That cannot reopen my fucking buildings that I was famous for around the world with the space breaks. And science attack, and you speak about some cheap-ass cancer biomeds in the lowlands, Algeria, Poland. You Akimas. And then there's the big one. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a 221. 221 number 1 is Delft. Plummet time. That's in the Netherlands and Holland. Number 1, that number. Number 2, even without the number, look at the fucking intel, what it did. And number 3, it was blessed over that, not here, because they could see it coming like a freight train. They smashed her head on the ghost lines. And you still have pretenses. Those guys could have fallen with her mermaid Titanic ages ago and continued without her connected dos globals, and I wouldn't be able to change that if you paid me the $1 trillion. You're stupid. You're retarded, US. Absolutely retarded. You lose intel. You lose intel. You lose intel. For real. All the time in the US. Small intel, smaller intel. Big intel. Big share 221. Big shit coming like a freight train from abroad there. You don't care. Because I'm California. I'm better. Look at my teeth. Look at my PhD. Look at my space breaks. You don't have space breaks. You don't have that shit. You don't have any of that shit. You don't have those buildings of Jamila. Why? Because you smashed her head in. Now you have negatives. I bet you, of course you have negatives of that girl. It's obvious. Ding, 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 nails. I say, not related to the original. It's not related to the baby. It's not related to the parents, obviously. And if it is related somehow, they must have been genial about it. Over there in Western Europe, where I was born and raised, conceived, born and raised. And basta. The big one. You shit. And you cannot look at a girl who is the Disney version of that girl, with only the eyebrows are the same. That's it. Mazzo. Mamma mia, che mini. A tribodda. Let's speak about suicide and depression. There is depression, but the depression came from those men. Because, you see, when I was younger, it's another question only of holding it in, Scotland film, knowing about what happened with that girl, about the parents. No, a train pool in the house, no, it's something else. For the entire communities, they're looking at the US, you see. That girl was in the CIA long ago. She was breaking airspace. The problem is when she gave you the share and you smashed her head in on the ghost lines, you lost it. Of course, those guys will have plum hats with her. They're going to make a people explanation for circumstances. They want to help, assistance to help. You should have space bombed Fresno, you see, because you lose. The losses in the US can be small, can be big, but they're bigger if the intel is true. Meaning, if the buildings of space sciences or tech are actually empty, then that's a loss. It's not a microchip. It's not something that you can put in a microchip because that's traceable. Do you understand that? Anything that's physical is traceable. But what's inside your head when you're flying and running, nobody has it. If that girl had her head bashed in, you can close down big buildings around the world. La Sapienza and other places, the new mathematics. She was famous before she came to the US on retirements with the parents. Now she's known for having her head bashed in on the ghost lines, and you're denying it. The more you deny 221, the more you deny those guys falling with her, or with the blunt hairs, the more you deny this chiodo fisso on the ghost lines, the more you pay. The more you send your cycles to the girl, the more you pay with the Roman tribunal. They can sue you and sue you and sue you because you're stupid. Because you hate. And that's why they brought back Disneyland. They brought back the Indios to show to you who you are, US. Nobody else is going to be behaving that way in any country. And they make you pay for that number because you hated that girl and smashed her head in that badly. That's why the buildings 221 are around the world with the platinum hairs globals, connected those globals. They're not getting, you're not getting away for this shit, for that girl. I'm not standing, you stupid ass. Bruno. Goodbye. They say better to lose with the most intelligent around the world. Even within the CIA with the bum heads and those voided buildings and all the shit and the others that worked with them, than to win with the stupid assholes. You know, high school cliche between the ages of 13 and 14. 15, I was already out for free. You have to start thinking, because if you keep hating, one day they will turn around. I know how the intelligence communities work. When there's large swath of stupid people, I know how they do it. Disneyland. I know that because I'm that girl. Okay? And therefore, you couldn't have looked at that girl when she was alive. You're not going to look at her as Disneyland. Why? Because you're insanely jealous of something that's not even her. Now, there are negatives of that girl. There are. But it's not the same person. Because if you smash your head in on the ghost lines, you're not going to get the beautiful buildings reopened. You're not going to have the phenomenal intelligence again after smashing your head. You're going to have the most intelligent. They're not. I'm not going to go into this. We're not going to make comparisons anymore. I finished with the UN schools, the Novos and the Novas. I finished explaining this shit. I finished. This is old news on the news at the age of 5. I cannot change it. If you can change it and you have your pretenses and there's a mermaid around the world, that's your problem. It's not my problem anymore because I can't change it. And if you can't change it, you're welcome with the plan has. I can't. I physically cannot change what happened on the coastlines. Mentally can't change it anywhere on the planet where the plan has. Connected those globals. Therefore, you keep your void. You keep your losses. And if they want to continue without me, continue. I'm leaving. You understand that? Do you understand that or not? You animal with a Scott Glenn film. You don't need Disneyland to tell you that. My friends were so obsessed with that girl that when they brought me back in the intelligence communities in the UN and Woolwich, Western Europe, the places where I came from, as Disneyland angels with that 221 number, or even without the 221 number, a familiar face around the world, connected those globals, cos celebre, baby indios, they looked at me and they you know what they said? Oh yes, it's called celebrity Chibas. You know what happened? They said, if they abuse you as Disneyland, after what happened on the coastlines, we'll kill all of them. Put them to federal prison. We'll know what to do with these animals. I said, well, guys, you go ahead. You know, I'm leaving. You know, you know, woohoo, you know, you're crazy. A whole bunch of it. And so when they fell with it, that's one thing. What surprised me was the love letters because, you see, men don't forget true beauty. They don't. And if you violently assassinate, massacre Jamila's intel on the coastlines and bring her back like this and say, well, there's still some crumbs of that girl, but I'm not going to explain it because it's too complicated for these retards. Well, then yes. Men have memories. That's why Disney came back. Those love letters were pain and obituaries. Obituaries of dead intel that was massacred on the coastlines. Those bridges that have shootouts, you know, the old pistol bridges around the world that have the shootouts. That's you and your friends. Oh, great. I want no fun shootouts. Exactly. That's why everything. Oh, shut up. Then wait. You know what? Forget it. Fogo. So this is extremely unusual, this situation. Now, because I'm not really that girl, let's say it, and even if I do have negatives, they're nowhere near me, the original, the parents. They're not, because I'm alright. And if they do work with the CIA, there's a possibility, ma proprio in extremely specific projects that they already know about. They could be elsewhere. There is The Hague, there is that. And Western Europe's intelligence is just tired of repeating that you smashed a girl's head in on the coastlines. You may have had her intel before. You may have worked with her, but you smashed her head in on the coastlines in California. So that was the ghost celebrity. Okay, boss. Now, you on the other hand are still hating me, which tells me that you are mentally retarded haters, or you're the criminals. Either one or the other. That's basically, or you're jealous, envious, which is a possibility because there's a law. Colloquiality says that you're just not normal people who are jealous and envious of things cannot control you. And because she's Disney and she's on her little crawlies, you do what the fuck you want. There was the Roman Tribune, there was the Hague, there was the Bureau de Veritas, Roman Tribune. If you want to continue, we'll have a second Hague for her. Which means your government is going to be paying for everything while you're sitting there and there's the Scotland film to stay out of this fucking country. That's it. And you only have 147 to 221 of geological rebirth to make that happen. 221. Bye-bye. And that's why I was telling you it's not a competition. You know, you're speaking about I'm better, I'm this, and now I'm those things. It's not a competition. You're the best, you're the best. You're not the best, you're not the best. It's not a competition. You know, you're speaking about elites and not elites. Shit, you bashed her head in on the ghost lines. Yeah, boy. The guys joined forces with her. That's all news on the news, and just Clubhouse, connected to Clubhouse, and you're still sitting there saying, fuck that bitch. For what? I can't change it. I did connect to those Clubhouse, but I'm not the original girl. Not after what happened on the ghost nights. Prashamsa ghost children angels. Yes, but you have negatives. She was a phenomenal. Look at the Barons. Born Pioneer Camps beyond the capital cities. Oh. Directors of Human Resource Services. Oh. G1s. Whoa. Hanging benches of law Quintus and direct, defending them against cheap ass intelligence of Fresno in their retirement. Oh, that many times, that many flyings of the girl, that many runnings of the girl. Look at this shit. What is this? Astuntata. Mazzo. Therefore, they have memories, man. So, if your men are cheap assholes, and their girlfriends are cheap whores, and bitches, and jealous whores, and cunts, and all the rest, and everyone's yelling this shit in my face, a civilian, I speak about cool celeb, I'm gonna take 10 million shits on this shit. I don't know those girls in little court. I speak about holy page. Holy page, I'm good. You fling this, you fling that. The Paris! Okay. That's for you, dead baby. Come here. The void. Huh? You were brought back for a specific... Yeah, thank you. What about the burn? Basta. If you think that I'm Mother Teresa of Calcutta, you can shove it up here, you know what? And that's for your girlfriend. What am I say about your girlfriend? Well, you're still comparing yourself. Flatfoot. Muscle. I'm looking at the Harry Potter gossip. Problem. Diana, I mean, how about it? Not even have Beatrice. Marafankuru. But my mom has been saying this. I had a problem with Harry Potter for that girl. She's like Beatrice now. Yeah, I got that. I don't like Danny. Beatrice, I don't like it. Discussione. I'll be pitching right. Fucking crazy fuck. There's something behind that girl. Yes, there is. She's phenomenal. They bashed her head on. It's not the Manhattan Project. It wasn't a bomb. No, it must. You are so ugly. You don't like hearing it. So a country that cannot even admit what happened, because there are cycles and bitches following her in Frisco and Fresno on purpose. A country that did that to that girl, is paying for that, has caused the good celeb. Okay? Basta. That's why I'm back to tell you that. And that's because I knew it. I knew that there was something extremely wrong with the situation in Rome when I came back this way. Extremely. Even as a child, I could sense it in elementary primary schools. First of all, there were too many genetic freaks in the schools in the UN. And they did not look like their parents. And if they did, just a little bit. Second, there was too much void. It was almost like a dream. But I knew it wasn't a dream. And I could sense it since I was a little child. Every step I took, they showed to me some empty buildings and that was yours. And I'd be, okay, I know what this is. I'm a replacement child. I see these genetic freaks at the age of 5. I'm shit. I have to learn how to be a bully here. I'm Disneyland. Oh man. And you're running around. It's not you're staying only in Rome. No, you're in 80 countries before retirements with the parents or by yourself. Connected those global. Then you're in 20, 25 states in the US. Connected those global, wherever they are. And you're sitting there going, and you say, money? Where's the money? Where's the money? She went to school for free. Traveling doesn't take much. take charter flight, train, plane, bus. Yeah, but she had nice holidays. Oh yeah? She didn't presidency? No. I didn't have no limousines. The education was completely paid. I don't even know why, because I'm not that girl. I'm not the original. Dragon tattoo. A myth, guard. I'm looking at this shit. What the fuck? Did I really do this again? No, what the fuck? Stop me. That girl's calling. So what am I? That was connected to school box. Those guys know what they're doing. Oh yeah? Connected to school box? Yeah. Best thing to do. Like she said, you don't have plan. Some of them, many of them have plan has. Go to a backward country like Poland, got Ukrainian shit going on, Chelsea. I feel like I don't need this shit. Fame for what? Shut up. Oh, son of a... The brother and mother sitting there. I was sitting there saying, oh man, this girl was so good at all this shit. Oh, you have to go to Moscow, darling. No, this was the easy shit. You have to go to Moscow. You used to do the mirror shit. You did the weird shit in space science. You broke that shit. That's nothing. Shit, yeah. I'd gone with it. Oh, shit easy. For you. You should know this, but Bulgaria is good Moscow. And the back, everyone buying your country on the capital cities, you retard. I know that. I have 2 heart attacks, 2 strokes, 2 aneurysms. Holding on. Oh, yeah, holding on. I'll hold on till the end. I only have 1% left. I got to stop playing film. That's all I have to say. So that I'm not even reborn. Thinkcast is not coming back. So what's happening? Well, so important to bring back to the baby before. For most things, it's dead. Move on. Hey, stop. You don't deserve this world, you guys. You don't deserve that intel. You don't. You're not after smashing that girl's head in on the good side and talking about the hole in the wall. Oh, there goes the bullet in a circle. Oh, maybe she's a gymnast. For hell, give me a break. In other words, it's just become ridiculous because they made it look rosy, and I knew this rosy business was really bad. Whenever they bring back dead babies, and if it's famous and known for what it did, it becomes a celeb. It's as simple as that. I can tell you. Child replacements are not good news. There are children of people in the UN or, the Foreign Service, directorates, hanging bench. If you go to Lara Quinta and Nadia Rep, and you ask them, why are you defending them? They'll go, shit, all those assholes in Fresno areas. Of course we're defending them. And I'm just looking at his leather, not the US. So if you do that many flyings and that many runnings and that many crawlies, and you have the psychos here following her, it tells me that you're not normal. It just tells me as a nation you're not normal. Because the other countries are going, it's worse than the royal family. You understand this? For the father and the mother, for their jobs. Good work. Their countries are going to hear the child was a phenomenal space sign. I'm the Western Europeans stood with but I was born and raised in Mount Kosovo. Conceived over there, Mount Kosovo. You come to the US, you give them the answer. Then they smash your head in over time and they sit there and go, fuck you, bitch ass. You're crazy. Of course they made calls around that girl. You're crazy. You're gonna abuse me, you're gonna rape me, you're gonna da on my literal clothes, they'll turn around and go, the whole fuck. Oh, no, not again. Let's just settle down, please. In other words, do you remember the original Jamila? The big eyes, the nose, the longer face. The original eyebrows up. Do you remember her? Do you? Around the walls and back connected those club bells. Now you see what the US is through 221. You know what that girl did around the world. And you know what happened to her on August Lines. And you know what this is, this Disney version. And you know that these people are bad. Beyond bad. Now you know what the US is. Sick inside. Look at the losses of Intel on the coastlines, the beautiful buildings around the world, especially on the coastlines where it happened to that girl in the US. Look at Dirk Jan Van Damme with the Hague in the middle of the Veritas. And look at Disneyland, presenting it so nicely and sweetly like a little rose, while they're sitting there hating the dead baby after they smashed the original girl's head in on the coastlines. You're not a country. And you can't look at yourselves. The US is incapable of reflecting its own crimes on itself within the US. It doesn't care for any losses in this country. Even if the losses are beautiful buildings around the world and space new sciences. Even Elon Musk moved to fucking Texas. And as for that cheapest shit of the classical biomeds in the lowlands, that shit was mine too. This country is not worth it. It's not. Not for my kind of intelligence 2-1. According to the intel, to inner circles of knowledge, of Western Europe, of the UN, of Rome, of Cairo, of Saudi Arabia, Turk and Russia, my bloods. Or also internationals, I'll say, because I don't really like the Eastern Bloc. Czechoslovakia and Poland stanno sul cazzo. Another bunch of psychopaths and people who were jealous of a poor girl. And Ukrainians. And Jews and others who don't like me. This country is not a question that it's not normal. It's bad. The people are bad. They will lie about everything. And when Cause Celebre comes back, without the 2-1, with the familiar face around the world connected, those globals, and when those guys go nuts over a dead baby that comes back as an Indios, you will realize what this country really is. And why they don't give a shit about anything. And then when they lose, they have pretenses that they lose, and it's not even their intel that was shared with them. And then they lose that, and then they lose more. And then they have more problems in the US with the Plum has the CIA because the beautiful buildings are empty and not fucking 9/11 bags. Then they speak about twins and not twins, lookalikes, blues and pink. They speak about keep your mouth shut about they don't pick up us on the beautiful buildings around the world, la sapienza. And then they'll come back to the Disneyland and they'll send more psychos. This is called Celebre US because you are fucking cheap assholes, bitches. You can't control your bitches, not even with Disneyland. Version of that girl. And you know what that girl did. If you don't know, keep denying that. This is a Scott Glenn film. It's not a question of making me not normal. It's a question of showing who the fuck you are. Hey, Bureau de Veritas and Roman Tribunal. Kill me again, we're gonna have a second aid. It's a fucking waste of time to come to this country if you have that kind of intel. Or whatever that was. Don't speak to me about the proverbial void. The proverbial void comes from hate. It doesn't come from love. You hate us. And then you're happy that it happened. Oh, big Russian. You're a senior man, Italian, you and British. She was in the sea, smashed her head, fell down. You don't think, a priori. You don't see that those guys were going to fall her with her. You don't know that around the world. They already did ages ago. Do you know why they fell long ago with that girl? Ages ago. Do you know why? Because of who she was before you smashed her head in. They will continue without that girl. And you won't be able to change shit, diddly squat in this country. And that's what we call intelligence. Better to lose with the most intelligent forevers and evers than to win with the asshole stupids. High school cliche right now. Let's go back to high school. Let's go back to kid. Many times. We're staying in Rome for retirement. Okay? And you're getting Fresno for the parents. Do you understand that? They're intelligent. And if they're here, you do the same. I don't give a shit. We're staying out. If you can't bomb that place, which I would have done ages ago, please space bomb. And considering that I'm Disneyland and I can't keep saying the same shit on the Crawlies and Literal Crawlies, they're saying it for me and have been ever since. Probably been saying it since 85 out there. And the Crawlies and Literal Crawlies, just about every motherfucker on the planet is saying it. So stop denying it in California. Stop denying your beauties on the coastlines. Especially, in Britain. Scotland, thank you. There's no losses and no sacrifice by now.